But science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown and you lose you?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy? Darling? Light of my life.
What's your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
Those tiny braids.
Okay. You want me to introduction?
Mary doesn't even want to be.
Oh.
This is her last week. And she's just please get this over with so I never have to do this again.
That is not what I'm saying. I will
It's a send-off.
I will definitely do this again sometime if it's interesting.
Well, yeah, next week. You're the regular host now.
If you're not watching 4-hour sad boy movies, then I might get on board. All right. You want me to do the intro?
Yeah. What sad boy movie? I've never made you watch a sad boy movie.
I've watched so many 4-hour sad boy movies.
Name
for
one.
you. I don't know. All of the ones. All your favorite movies.
That's what I thought.
This is Cult of Cinema Knowledge. I'm Mary. This is Levi. And over there in a different time zone, that's Jordan.
That is a different time zone. Whoa.
Here I am.
You're in the past,
You're right.
bro.
He's in the future,
Wait,
isn't
no,
he?
you're in the future. I'm in the past.
Yeah, he's in the past.
That's right.
He's now behind us.
I'm on the West Coast, baby.
I mean, it feels weird because we're pretty West Coast too. Just not that West Coast.
We're the Rockies.
No, okay. I've never known. You're like the west of the Rocky Mountains, so it's like, you're not the Midwest, but I don't know what we are. We're not.
Yeah, we're like mountain.
What is Utah?
Mountain range.
I've always thought we were like, oh, sure.
It's a mountain region. It's like, that's like us.
Sure, but
and
whoever
Idaho,
says,
Colorado.
the mountain region,
They
and
do.
everyone is like, yeah, Utah and Colorado. No one says
It
that.
depends on when you decide you want to do.
Right.
Is it just like
West, East, South?
if you split the country directly
Midwest?
in half? Then yeah,
That's
I guess
what
we're
you
West
say.
Coast. This is a geography podcast.
Yeah, welcome.
I think me and Levi are bickering tonight.
We're calling over here from the West Coast, talking about the worst movie I've seen all year on this podcast. We had to break the streak.
Whoa!
He's a filthy fucking liar, is what he is.
I like it. I like this movie.
I gotta get this out in the open right now. For everybody out in podcast land, how many tears did you shed? This week, Mary's final week was tearjerker. Right? That was your.
yeah,
kind of what we landed on, right?
It was loosely.
Loosely tearjerker.
Loosely. It's safe to assume though you picked more emotionally.
We could have
movies.
find more tearjerker
because that's how I love them.
movies,
Yeah,
for sure. But
yeah.
So,
I mean, I didn't go Marley
many-
in me, but you know what I mean.
Oh, sure, right. How many? I mean, yeah, dead animals are always the best. That always really gets you sad. Always really works you.
That's the official stance of the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. Dead animals are the best. Get that. We're gonna put that on next month's Sticker of the Month Club. So join for our Patreons out there.
Yeah, really though. Yeah, Patreon. I'm making one. I'm making a sticker that's if you don't like Arrival, you're an asshole. Then Mary's quote. It'll be Mary.
Can
Mary
you
quoting
please
that.
make that? Oh my god, I would love that. I'm gonna put that everywhere. Oh god, please.
Yeah, that's one of the stickers. So if you want that sweet sticker, everybody come to our Patreon. Patreon/Cult of Cinema Knowledge.
All right. Let's
find us there, baby.
Let's
but
button,
really,
let's button
I want
it
to
up.
know who cried? Did you cry? I've never cried a day in my life. So.
You're like, I just need
Have
to
I seen
feel
you cry,
something.
Jordan?
Yeah,
I'm wondering.
Let me feel. Yeah, I mean, I got a little teary-eyed.
Levi cried the first time.
I knew it was coming this time. I choked up a little bit because it's just proud dad and everything. You know, it wasn't even.
Yeah, that's where like I don't have a. See, it's like within Arrival, it really like struck that chord, and I guess maybe because it's like it's so hopeful and inspiring, and like the kid dies and it's like sad and you like I don't know mourning it. Arrival, I felt more emotional than I did in this.
Oh, I agree with that. That's different. It's a different kind of emotional reaction, though.
I know
that makes me like the therapist part of me, Jordan, wants to explore your mind because of that comment.
Everyone, shut up. We're talking about CODA. We didn't even fucking mention it. We are a mess.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about CODA, the movie, the recent. Won fucking Best Picture like a couple years ago at the Oscars. like, I mean, I think it deserves it, but it was surprising for me because I didn't even hear about it till it got nominated for an Oscar, and we usually watch all the Oscar movies. Watched it, really liked it, and I was like, oh, that was a cool, like, underdog movie. There's no way it fucking wins. But then, like, as we got closer to the Oscars, it was like, oh, yeah, CODA probably, and then it fucking won, which is pretty wild. But, like, good for them. You know what I mean? I don't know. Good for them. I don't remember what they were up against that year, but...
I know. It was The Power of the Dog and...
Oh, yeah.
Something else, I think.
See, I don't remember Power of the Dog at all, so...
I was a little harsh on Power of the Dog originally, but it's grown on me a bit.
I loved Power of the Dog. But
our podcast, we were both a little bit kind of harsh on it. Like, we liked it, but we were kind of pointing out its stuff.
Well, this podcast is not about that movie, so...
I wish it was. I want to revisit it. No, so CODA's good.
I'm not doing the synopsis. Jordan is doing the synopsis. He's the best at it.
He's the best. Yeah.
No, that's incorrect. But I will gladly give a quick synopsis.
All right, lay it on us.
CODA is a 2021 picture directed by, is it Sian Hader?
I don't know why you're asking us.
I think Sian.
Yep.
Sian. Yeah.
Sure.
So, Sian Hader directed this movie, and it follows the lives of a coastal fishing town family. Our main character is Ruby Rosie. She's our Rossi, whatever their last name is.
Rossi.
I was like,
the Rossi
Rosie,
family.
Rossi, yeah.
Yeah. Ruby Rossi. She is a hearing child in the family of deaf people.
Deaf adults. Child of deaf adult is what CODA stands for.
Is what CODA stands for, right. And her mom, her dad, and her older brother, they're all deaf, and they work on this fishing boat, and I'm not sure what town they're in, because apparently they're
near Boston,
somewhere in Massachusetts,
somewhere near
or
Boston.
Something? I don't know.
But isn't Berkeley, California? And they drove to
but it's
Berkeley,
Berkeley
in an
Musical
afternoon?
School in Boston.
Boston, yeah.
It's not the same Berkeley as
Not
the
everything's about
Berkeley.
your West Coast elitism, Jordan.
Yeah.
I was so confused when they
Mary,
they
we're on the
drove.
list.
To,
I mean, if her Boston Bruins sweatshirt didn't give away the location, I don't understand.
yeah.
Well,
I
they
know,
went
right,
to Boston.
I know, right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, yeah. There's no Boston accent anywhere to be found in this movie, so I
Thank
was
God,
lost.
because usually, like, nothing against the Boston accent, but like, usually in movies when people are doing it, like when we watched like Good Will Hunting recently, it's just like,
yeah, right.
It just sounds like they're trying so hard. I don't know. It's like
they really get into
actors
it.
are really like the Boston accent.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, let's
But
not even try
anyways,
to do it.
Boston.
So Ruby's it follows Ruby, and she's our main character, and it's a coming of age story with her where she's kind of this she's an awkward outcast that lives between having like, you know, a like prominent family in the fishing community, but they're kind of like they're silly fuddy-duddies. They're kind of country folk, if you will, in that vein. They like the simple life of fishing and fucking, and
Fuddy-duddy. That is true.
That's another sticker for you.
And she's
fishing and fucking.
And Ruby is like, she's torn between taking over the fish dynasty that they've established and or following her passion, which is singing. And
it's because they're so dependent. It's not even taking over the dynasty. It's because the family's dependent on her ability to translate for them, because they're like starting the business and like a co-op and everything, but she's stuck in between. Like, they need me actually, and the fact that one day I didn't show up, it's like, oh, the guilt. It's like the one day she didn't show up, they fucking got fined like $3,000 and lost their fishing license and shit because she wasn't there and all this. So it's the torn.
So
for music, singing makes her feel
Jordan wasn't
like
done
this.
with the synopsis, babe.
She has I know, right? Exactly, yeah.
Well, we never will get done with the.
Because you keep interrupting him.
If I let him not stay on track,
oh Lord,
he gets lost in the weeds.
This is the most a mess we've been this month in this podcast.
I know, it's because we're doing it on a different day. I'm like,
that is true.
I'm out of it.
I was like ready yesterday.
Me too. I was like, yeah. I was on board yesterday, and I'm down now. I'm happy, and we're gonna give you guys that hot content that you love. But let's just get through this real quick.
Yeah, it's coming out Thursday now.
I know it's gonna be weird. This is a weird day.
The whole thing.
Oh my God, let Jordan finish.
She has her like school teacher or a music teacher is really, you know, supportive, and he gives her the push to be like, hey, you know,
It's not
you're gonna have to
played
like
by Robin Williams this time.
no,
It should have been.
It's, yeah, no, it's not. I don't even know who it's played by. Some guy.
Can we get that info?
But Lonnie Farmer is the dude's name.
I was kidding.
His name's Arthur, the music teacher, and he's very Latin, and that's his
His
character
Arthur.
trope.
It's like Antonio Val.
No, it's like
you gotta roll the R's.
It's like Rodrigo.
Oh yeah, it's
or
Arthur.
something.
Arthur. Yeah, Arthur. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's Lonnie Farmer.
The actor.
Arthur on the IMDb. I don't. It doesn't have his full name on here. I apologize for everyone out there in
usually
the
I
world.
say I don't give a fuck about the synopsis, but you know who's been listening to the episodes and not watching the movies? It's
Pablo.
So
Hi,
Pablo.
Pablo.
Yeah. Pablo.
he probably won't listen to this one.
Pablo, watch the movie and
He
tell
doesn't
us
give
how
a
many
fuck
tears you
about
cried.
CODA.
How many dead animal tears did you have?
No, if anything, he should go
Yeah,
back
watch
and watch
this.
Arrival also, because that's just more up his alley, personally. But
Oh, and he hasn't seen Arrival yet. Yeah,
he hasn't
really
seen
should see that.
anything.
Okay, guys. The whole thing is she learns to love herself. She gets a little boyfriend. She gets accepted into college, into the musical program that she wants to get into. She's really happy, and her parents let her go. And they're supportive, but they know that they have troubles coming down the road, and it's movie magic. All the problems are pretty much fixed. They have magic fish. They have a magic fish distribution company that they started, so they do fish now, and everyone's happily ever after.
I think everyone should take a shot every time you guys say movie magic in your podcast.
That's
you do say it.
Yeah.
So the actor that played Bernardo, his name is Eugenio Derbez. You fucking idiot!
Jesus Christ, what is wrong
Wait,
with you
where?
today?
Wait, where is it?
On IMDb, I don't know.
Who's this? Lonnie? I'm on IMDb.
Lonnie, who?
I don't know who
Oh, it's
Arthur
not.
is
Maybe
in the
he's
show.
maybe he's one of the he's a Fisher guy.
Let me see.
What? Now I'm tripping out. He's not even on. Oh, there he is.
Who is he?
Is he just
Oh,
some
yeah.
like extra fisherman? Like,
Is he one of the?
all right.
Who is he?
This movie. Just moving on. What was? Because this.
Fall apart, dude. I don't know, man. This really is a wrap. We gotta. All right.
This was
Well,
your
we
first
made-
time watching it, right?
We got 150 episodes in. I feel like we did pretty good.
I'm broken. I'm just a broken person.
I feel like we had a pretty good run. Why would the music teacher dude? The music teacher is literally like 40th on IMDb. Why would he be down so far?
You know what? I think it might be like in order of appearance, because like they do that sometimes, and he doesn't show up until sort of later in the movie.
He is later, yeah.
It's not like
there's
top billing.
There's Riff Girl is before him. Like,
Yeah, who was that played by? Who played Riff Girl?
I can tell you right now, it's Kaya Fian.
So this was your first viewing, right, Jordan?
This was most definitely my first viewing.
Yeah.
And this would have been my only, or this I would have never watched this movie unless it was the podcast.
Right.
Why?
And normally I say that in a good way, but I don't know. This movie did exactly what it was supposed to do, and it was supposed to enlighten
You say
you.
that like it's a bad thing.
I know. I was like,
And it's I don't know. It's fun. I feel like it's just it's a very safe movie, and it's a very feel good movie. And those
how
are
could
fine.
you know that it
They're-
was a safe? How can you know
No.
before you
I mean, I
watched
saw
it?
that-
I mean,
I
I
saw the trailer.
kind of agree with him. I
But-
think it's a really good movie, but I didn't have the same impact as I had the first time I watched it. Because the first time we watched it, I wasn't expecting anything. I didn't really even see the trailer. I didn't really know what it was about, and so I was like really pleasantly surprised. And I think it's really funny and well written. And like
Well, I'll
heartfelt.
definitely-
It's got all the stuff, right? And then, but this time watching it, I still really enjoyed it. But it was like, I definitely like, I don't know, like I still gave it like 4 stars. But
Why don't you want a feel good movie? Why don't you want to feel good?
I told you
No.
he wouldn't like. I told you he
No,
would
You
try
did
something
tell me.
different.
He said
No,
you wouldn't
but
like
the
it.
Thing is,
He
thing
said
is,
you wouldn't.
I know, and he's right
It's because the dad didn't kill the whole family.
Exactly. You needed some tragic. I don't
I was
know. They could have
waiting.
made it darker or something, and you would have enjoyed it.
It's too much hope.
Yeah, no. What I really wish happened in this movie and what I was expecting until Ruby Rosie gets into the music room, like before that scene when she goes to the music hall, which is pretty, I mean, that's kind of like, that's like a inciting incident adjacent. Before she goes there, it like, I thought it was going to be about the family and their dynamic about working in this coastal fishing town and like her having to decide if she's going to stay or leave. You know, I kind of feel like that was going to be her coming of age. And I like really was expecting
like
a
it
little
kind
bit
of
more
is, but they
drama.
do put it on the back burner a little bit in the back half, right?
I don't agree with you guys at all. I don't think that's back. I think the whole
it becomes
movie
more
is
about,
about
like,
the
her
family
seeing-
dynamics, the
is.
parentification of her
Yeah.
in a deaf family. You know what I mean? And also like deaf culture and deaf people in a community that doesn't. I feel like that's
they
all
did.
what it's about. Definitely
they
the
nailed
family
that.
navigating it in the coastal community, and I totally disagree. I don't see that as back burner at all.
Oh, but I
see
know,
what
I
you're
do, 'cause it's
saying,
like, I see that it
it's
is.
like the
I
two
know that it is
interwoven. Like,
you could have
plot lines.
replaced music with anything else, and it just would have been her deciding whether she should do something for herself or the loyalty she feels like she owed to her family because she's always never been able
that
to.
is the-
You know what I mean?
That's it. That is the conflict there
Yeah.
of like she is coming of age. She has to decide what she wants to do with her life.
I agree with you,
But I
babe.
feel like
but
it was
like
just like a montage for them, like the fishing stuff was
I see what you're
nothing.
saying,
There's like
'cause it's
barely
like-
any drama. There's like 2 scenes
The
where
most-
it's like fishing is drama.
the most interesting
the rest
stuff
of it,
is like the family dynamic stuff, but then it's like, especially in the back half, it's like so much of her singing stuff plus of like her weird romantic relationship with that kid, which is fine. Like that's all fine, but then it's just like the most interesting stuff from the first half kind of gets squeezed down to like a lot less, and like it's important, but it's like, oh, we've already established that, so let's move on. And that's fine. I think that's totally fine from a storytelling perspective.
I
It's
think,
just
like,
not as fun because all the best characters are her family.
I think it's tight. I do really think.
Yeah,
the
I think-
movie is-
I think
it's
it's
a
great
tight
stuff.
script. It really like maybe it's not a movie I like resonate with on like an emotional level, really. But like I definitely feel like technically it's really tight. There's really barely any fat on it. I mean, I think at times, like I said, it almost like speeds things up through montage a little bit more than like,
I agree
like
that it's
them getting
safe.
their fishing.
But tell me
yeah,
why you
safe.
don't. Tell me why you don't connect with it emotionally.
Yeah,
He
it
hates
just,
deaf people.
I want to hear his
no,
answer.
no, and that's the funny thing is because I actually really liked Switched at Birth. Did you ever watch that show? I liked
I
that. I
remember
liked
that.
watching that.
I've never seen
I
it,
watched,
though. I remember
watching that family navigate like their life, and it's like a fish out of water on top of being like deaf acceptance and like building that culture. I think it's amazing. Like I really do. That's the part about this movie that they nailed. Like I'm like that's where they deserve their Academy is for the fact that like they made a very inclusive film, and that's amazing. That like right there, that's the pinnacle. That is where I'm like, that's inspirational. I totally love that. But the movie itself, the packaging to me just feels it's like sterile. Kind of feels like a Disney movie or something, like a kind of made for TV movie. So it's like I don't know, where the movie is like the movie feels safe itself.
Yeah, I mean,
on
I
its
see
own.
what you're saying.
You know,
I mean,
so
it's
like-
definitely like
Right.
I could see like it could have been a made for TV Disney movie, and then like Apple took it and we're like, we're gonna add more curse words and like and more sex stuff to make it more like that.
Oh no!
But to
and I
me,
wanna
it
say-
sounds.
That's not the case.
To me, it sounds like you
Well,
guys
let
are
me say-
saying that a movie to make people feel good, or like can't be
I'm on your side.
interesting, and you're like it's a Disney movie. Well, a Disney movie could be good,
Yeah.
right? And you can connect. Inside Out will make me tear up a storm.
good writing is
right?
good
Like
writing.
you can emotionally
right.
connect to a feel good.
Well-
You know what I mean?
See, I agree with you, babe, but I'm like, just because having so many conversations with Jordan, when we've had this conversation about other movies, and I see 100% where he's coming from, because even though I really like this movie, and I think it's like, because it's like, I think the characters are all really good, it does feel very safe as far as its trajectory, which is fine. It's like very plain, like looking, like it does feel like the package could be anything. Like all the edge that you get, quote unquote, comes from the family, and I think that's why you like the dad and the mom and their relationship, and then the brother is kind of the most interesting stuff. And
So this is back to
I
my
fucked
point
up,
again.
though.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I didn't watch this movie with subtitles. I didn't know there were supposed to be subtitles on this, and so I watched the entire film with just getting context clues from their conversations.
Jordan.
With body language and that. Well, no, I looked up online and it didn't have. It said that they didn't have subtitles. Like the first like article I read and like the first paragraph.
I mean,
on the
if
first
you
article,
know how to speak ASL,
right? Well, no, that's the whole thing. Is like because what they did is they hard coded them when they did their theatrical run so that they could get like the Academy Award, nomination. So you can because you have to like run a movie through.
Well, you have to. I mean, if you're gonna do it, just depends on where you release it anyway. It's like technically it's not in English; it's an American Sign Language. Like 60% of the movie and 60%. That makes sense why you don't like it.
That's
Did you watch it again?
No, I didn't watch it again because I didn't find out until today when I was researching this and looking up like all the behind the scenes and stuff, making of. And I was watching a bunch of making of and a bunch of the scenes. I'm like, oh, there's subtitles the entire time.
Oh my God, Jordan! I feel like you can't even be on this podcast. You have no idea what this movie is about.
There's like so much plot and character. Like you can get from reference, but it's just like I watched Zone of Interest with no subtitles, and I get that it's Nazis are bad. Yeah, but I thought for sure that I was just supposed to understand German. I don't speak American Sign Language.
Yeah, like the first 20 minutes, I'm like, I bet you there's supposed to be subtitles. And then I read, look, I'm gonna show you right here on my phone. I know, right? Look, I typed in.
Does he even get the part where
CODA.
it goes? Oh yeah, I get that.
See, it's like.
That's insane.
So look,
he's over there being like, there should be more family dynamics. I'm thinking over here, the whole movie is the family dynamics.
Look at this.
No, I stand behind that. Back half an hour is what.
Read that paragraph. Can you see it?
No, it's too blurry.
The signing in CODA was not what?
Yeah,
I believe
CODA
you, Jordan. We just
people who are deaf and hard of hearing to watch this movie without special accommodations. Then they otherwise would not need. However, all the signing in CODA was not captioned. Hearing people are able to experience the lack of comprehension that deaf people undergo sometimes.
I know, but that's you only got
it's uncaptioned.
40% of the movie.
But it made me appreciate because I was like, that's where I'm really frustrated because I wanted the movie to have more stakes. Like the fact that she got into school and everything just kind of worked out, which is that's what makes it nice for for her and her character.
Well, that's fine. You always knew it was gonna kind of work. You knew it was gonna work out, but it's it's got stakes for the family. I do wish the dynamic decision of her leaving. Oh man, you probably don't even get so many of the good jokes. It is a really funny movie.
I mean that's the thing though. I got a lot of the jokes. I mean, a lot of it
Troy
I really
Kutzer, if I'm saying his name right, but the dad, he won Best Supporting Actor that year, and he absolutely is the highlight of this movie by a mile. He's so good in every scene he's in.
He was like a bog monster. I loved it.
I want to be him when I'm older. I just wish I was more of a man. I just have weak, soft.
Gone,
I'm too soft. I'm not a fisherman eating peanut butter out of the jar while I fish outside of some obscure town outside of Boston.
Dude. That guy likes likes his fish.
So I wonder if you guys don't connect to this movie because I've said this on every episode too, where I feel like you guys really look at this from such a film lens on how did they film it, do this, and I almost see for you, Jordan, why you're oh, did they take any risks though, or what did they do? You know what I mean? I can almost see that, and I watch movies literally just for the story. It's like how I listen to music. I'm just here for the lyrics. Sometimes the instruments aren't even there for me, right? I'm very much story driven like that, which is why I love this, and I feel like maybe I could appreciate it more than you guys because I can blur out all that other fun.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not even focusing on the technicality or anything or the actual filmmaking of this movie because the filmmaking is all fine. You know what I mean? But it's but it's not about that. This movie is definitely about the story and the performances. You know what I mean? And it's just it is about the family dynamics and her character of trying to make a change and a decision that'll affect her whole family and everything like that. So it's about that, and it's I like it all for that. It's just you kind of know where it's all gonna go, and it all works out and everything's great. And so I think that's what he's saying. Where he feels like it doesn't have stakes, even though it definitely does. But now he doesn't know that there are mistakes.
I know, Rare.
He doesn't know.
But I feel like you're it can't be. I feel like you're I can't like this movie because I know it's going to have a happily ever after. And I think my point is, what is wrong? Why does it mean it's not taking a risk if it has a happily ever after?
that's where it is. There's no stakes, is what I say, and I think what I mean that is like there's no conflict, like that I don't see the outcome. Like in a movie, I like when I'm in suspense, and that happens with feel good movies all the time. Like even if you know. I mean, I don't know. I say first cow because the first cow just always comes to mind.
Yeah, we gotta take a shot.
That there's tension in there, and something tragic's gonna happen, but the whole time you're experiencing even a lot of adventure movies are like that, and those are kind of easy to do that because you don't know what's gonna happen next. But in this movie, it's like every single conflict that was presented, you knew exactly how it was gonna resolve.
Let me ask you this then: would you have felt differently if everything played out exactly the same in the film, except for at the end, Ruby does her performance, but then they're all waiting because they do the switch. She goes to the teacher's house and is acting all sullen and sad, and then she's like, "Psych, I got in," and then it cuts back to the family and they're all celebrating.
Right.
If she didn't get in and they're like, "Oh, try it, you were great, but maybe another time." Try applying again next year or something like that.
That would be terrible.
If she didn't get in though, but would you enjoy it more? Because they have the balls to take that away.
No way, that would.
I
really
think I would have.
Right?
What?
No, that's what
Wild.
that is what I'm getting at. Yes, that's the whole thing. Is the whole time I was watching it, the second she was when she was I'm gonna try to get into this college, and that was there's.
You're there's no way she doesn't just go follow her dream.
Well, yeah, 100%.
When she says,
I was she gets in.
She's like, I'm gonna stay. I decided I'm not gonna go.
So of course she
course
gets into
go.
the college. We all know that, and but that's really not the point.
Right.
Of, is she gonna the movie's not us? We're waiting. Right. Is she gonna get on it? It's the point of is her family going to accept her leaving and let go of their reliance on her. And that's kind of what we get as far as the tension goes, is her family learning about this part of her that they can't understand, but accepting it anyway, right?
It's about the journey, not the destination. Because even though I know it's going to end in a happy ending, because it just already has that vibe of one of those inspirational type movies, Oscar winning, right? It's it has that vibe, but it's going, even though I know it's going to end happy, but seeing the tension of the family and them overcoming the resolution, their problems and growing as characters, even though it's predictable, it doesn't mean it's bad. I think it's still good. And it's if the characters are well written and everything is well written, then it's no problem if it's formulaic, I guess, right? Is kind of what you're saying. Cause it is fairly formulaic, but for the kind of movie that this is, I don't think that's a problem at all. I think it would have been a ballsier movie if they took some other risks in the story.
Well,
but
I
don't think it's necessary.
Talking about in a story like this, that's just doing risk for risk's sake and
that's
telling a story
I agree.
Well.
It's it wouldn't be satisfactory if she didn't get into the college, right? That would have been kind of. I would have been oh, that was a bold choice from them, and I appreciate that choice, but it does not make it a more satisfying film because it does not complete the arc, which is what you're saying. It's we like more weird, abstract, thought, movies that force you to engage with them differently. And I prefer those movies generally that kind of ask more from you, but it doesn't mean that, you said, this movie set out to do exactly what it intended, a negative. And sometimes that's the case, but it's all based on taste. Transformers sent out to just be a fucking dumb PG-13 action movie for 13-year-old boys. I don't care for that. But I don't think the movie has done anything wrong by doing that. And that's kind of how this movie... I think this movie is really good, even if it's sort of basic. It's the characters and everything, and give it enough, you know what I mean? I had the emotional... the best scene in the movie for me, probably, the one that actually made me almost cry, is when the dad is hey, can you sing that song for me again? And he just puts his hand on her throat, and he's almost crying, that's the best. Even though by then I was getting really sick of that song, that song that they were trying to learn. They played it 7 times.
I think that's probably what it didn't resonate with me because of all of the individual pieces that were
He wishes it was Gummo, you know what I mean, or something like that.
No,
you wish Darren Aronofsky directed this movie, which honestly it would be pretty dope.
I mean, it would be amazing, yeah. But no, it's like.
But I think this is just to a point of
kind of.
Sorry, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt.
Oh, no,
I feel like we interrupt Jordan a lot. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, we do.
No, it's fine. Like I think it's just because it's like, it's a film is personal, and so like my personal tastes are, we're not really met, and like I think it's like I can understand this film and I get why you would like it, and it's also kind of just like pandering seems rude to say, but it's just like the music cues and everything about it just formulaic, and that to me is fine, but it just doesn't have bite, it doesn't have like teeth. And I'm not saying that like you're like saying I need to watch Gummo. I don't need to watch like not everything. I'm trying to think of a good example.
Yeah, if Harmony Korine fucking
but
made
I think
CODA.
that's what I was going to say next. Is I think this is like how art speaks to each individual in their own experience, and how you guys have experienced film, and coming from this like liking to have this complex like Hereditary or something is
he's got an
pandering to you
Antichrist
guys.
poster right behind
Right?
his
Like
head.
there's
It's like,
certain
that's
things
where
that
it
are
is.
pandering to you that are like, oh yeah, I'm going to go in this and make something that's really going to make them. Am I thinking about this right? You know what I mean? There's certain films that pander to you guys, right?
Green Room.
But I was just gonna say the next year after this movie came out, or was it the year before? I think it's the next year. I'm getting a little confused on my research here. But Sound of Metal, that's the whole time I was watching this movie, that was the film I was thinking about, and I'm like that has like stakes, and like and it might just be like I'm a dude, and it like the Sound of Metal
has way more sad boy vibes.
CODA is a great movie.
Way
but
longer
Sound
sad
of
boy
Metal,
movie.
Well, Sound of Metal is
really, though.
10 times better of a movie.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. Like,
in my
And see,
opinion.
now I've watched both of those, and I would disagree with you.
And
I
that's
think CODA is the better movie out of that.
And I think that might just like literally
just
like
subjective taste, too.
all the execs got it right, and it's like demographic. Like we're Levi and I fall under the demographic of liking hardcore music, and then CODA is like softer, and it's like softer in like just like like a Taylor Swifty kind of way, or like more like a poppy kind of way.
Yeah, I
Oh
see
my
that.
God.
No, I mean you're not wrong.
And it's like and it's fine. That's where I'm like I don't think this movie.
I just can
is
enjoy
bad
more things.
in any
think.
regards.
I do.
Like,
I like more things. Go look at my letterbox, and I'm like, we're always ragging on Jordan for like rating everything low. I don't rate. I barely rate anything under like 3 stars unless I hate it.
I would give this a 3 star.
And that's pretty good. That's like fine.
That's like totally 3 star for me. That's 3 star for me. That's like any. If I give a movie 3 stars, I liked it. That's kind of the thing.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's like this really is a subjective movie, because objectively, everything is made is fine. It's like if you compare it, like again to like Sound of Metal, like they were both like Sound of Metal made different choices with like depth of field, and like the cinematography was different and whatever. But they're both movies about like hearing impaired people and stuff like that, so they share like themes and stuff. But one isn't made better than the other, and they both like. To be fair, he doesn't get the girl back at the end, and nothing kind of really works out for him. He has to learn to live with it.
I know, right. He has a struggle.
That is sort of a more satisfying kind of like real to life. And I guess I think that's maybe where Jordan's coming from, is this definitely feels movie-fied in like when you say like pop music, where it's like, that's why it feels formulaic, where it's just like Sound of Metal is like not everything works out, and that's life, and that feels real, and that feels raw, where it's like CODA, this also is life, but it's a success story of life, and it's like about like loving and growing and like following your dreams and doing all that, which is great, but it's like, it's not raw. it's not Lars von Trier directed it.
I appreciate this. No, but I do appreciate having like a movie that can just be like, if you're like a 14-year-old girl and you see this and it like really connects to you.
Keep
that's
in mind,
amazing.
babe.
And then if you're like a 50-year-old man,
14-year-old girl to relate to this.
I
don't think
Jordan
CODA
thinks it's
is
too
soft
popular.
and Taylor Swift and pop. I think that's like crazy that you think that. Like I think sure. Like I get that it doesn't relate to you, and it's not a movie that's like
she's a billionaire.
To you.
Like it's fine. I don't think that's a bad comparison necessarily.
I don't think the people who are in CODA would probably like, or who made that would appreciate your description of that either, because the effort today they put into it was great performances that did come with a lot of people who wrote it, right, that came with a lot of conflict, that was not just a soft, let me give you a cute Disney movie that's going to make a lot of money. Like that was an important story that they told. So like yes, I get that was your experience for it, but I wouldn't classify it as that, like, oh, I'm just gonna throw this away as it's cutesy pop filmmaking, right? Like, no, like, sure, I get your personal taste for not liking it, but I don't think you can.
Well, I can't just say, just to like defend myself a little bit, and I like, that's where I'm like, I don't want to, like, I'm not trying to devalue this movie at all. I know how, like, impossible it is to make a movie.
What he's saying
so
isn't necessarily a bad thing, I don't think.
It is, sure, personal taste, chalk it up to that. But I do feel like this is a movie that's trying to, like, be broader, family friendly, like, because the original writer who did the original film, who directed the original film, and then he was a writing consultant for this movie, he made the original of this, which was like 2014 or something, and it's called, like, I'm looking at it right now, and I don't know French, so La Famille Bellier, probably, like the family Belliers or something, whatever their last name is. But it's basically the, like, same thing, essentially. They're just not a fishing town. They just, like, you know, it's just a family, but it's the same kind of, like, coming of age story with a girl who sings, like 16-year-old, you know, who sings.
I mean, as much sex talk that happened in this movie, I doubt it was
he missed
family
all that.
friendly, but you probably missed
He
all
missed
that.
it all.
No, and that's the thing. No, like, I know that sex talk to me, I feel like in this, you know, modern era, that is more family friendly. So maybe it's not Bible Belt, but it's like, you know,
I did forget this was like
audience.
PG-13. Like,
Right.
I'm like right in the middle because I'm like, I really like this movie, but I agree with what you're saying, but I don't think that's necessarily like a bad thing, you know? It's like, I think that's all fine. But like, we have seen the story of, like, girl wants to follow her dream, and sure, this time it's singing, and then, like, you know, there's some hurdles along the way because that's what movies are, and then she succeeds at the end. Yeah, you know, like, that's fine. And that is, like, pop music-y in the way of, like, filmmaking.
I don't know if I'd call it pop music. I
That's
just
not
think
bad. That's
I just
not
think it's like,
necessarily
how do you want your
People love
art,
pop
right?
music.
Do you want your art? And to me, it sounds like you guys want your art as something like, I want to really relate to my struggles with this art.
What?
Where I view art as a lot of times, not all art, but like, I want to escape into the beauty of this art.
I
right?
don't wish this was
That's
anything
why
different.
I like all my happy endings, right? In things is because when I look, I want to enjoy it in a way. Like, sure, I want to relate sometimes, but I also want to enjoy it and have some type of, like, escapism to it, right? Like, I don't need every movie I watch to I don't need to carry the trauma of other people's experiences in through the art that I watch.
Oh, yeah, well,
right?
that's what I was saying. Like, we like to kind of often, like, our favorite movies are ones that are, like, quote unquote,
I want to be
more
emotionally
challenging.
destroyed.
Yeah.
But no,
But, like, I think that's all fine. Like, I
mean, I also come
wouldn't
from.
change
I
anything
see people. I mean, obviously, with what I do, I see people's trauma all the time.
I wouldn't change anything
I don't
about
need
this
to
movie.
carry other people.
Well, I know, but I'm like, I wouldn't. That's the thing. It's like, I don't need this movie to have more trauma or be anything different than
I think
what
you
it
would.
is.
I think what you're saying though is you guys would like it better if it did.
I
if she
wouldn't-
just got her leg chopped off halfway in the,
I would appreciate the
in
bold.
the middle, and then she, you know what I mean. You guys would like this movie so much.
I
better.
would appreciate the bold choice, but I mean, like, look, for example, go back a couple weeks to Dead Poet Society. That's kind of a similar arc, but then the kid kills himself 3/4 through the movie, which if the brother killed himself in this movie, you know, it would have been shocking and it would have been an extra upset, but it would have felt unnecessary.
Inappropriate for the film.
Right. And we kind of felt the same way. So I don't think that's a fair necessarily. Like, I don't think it needs to be edgier. I don't think it needs to be anything. Like, I think this is fine for what it is. And I think it's does what it does, as Jordan says, but it, like, does it exceptionally well. And so I think it's really great for if this is what you're looking for. You like, if I want to go see a fucking musical or something and it's a great musical, I'm not going to shit on it because I hate musicals. Like, it's a well done musical. It's set out to make a fucking musical. Not this movie, even though some people called this musical for some reason, which I don't get. But like, you know, it's set out to do what it wanted to do, and it was exceptionally well at it. And like, I gave it 4 stars, which I think is really, really good. Like, this movie is pretty great in my opinion. Like, but it's not one that's like gonna change my life. When I first saw it, I was really impressed because it was like came out of nowhere. I think now I mean, Jordan's a massive hipster, so since it won Best Picture, he's probably like, "Oh, this, of course, this won Best Picture. Bunch of fucking sheeple."
No, you guys want to know? No, you want to know what my thing is? I actually am kind of like, I was looking at the history of this movie, and it was a Sundance film, and it was at Sundance. It got bought by Apple TV, and they bought it for $25 million, which was to date on record the most. I think now a streaming service has paid more, but that was record setting for the time, where they just flat out bought it for $25 million we're doing Money Minute a little earlier, on a $10 million budget. So it's like a really small budget to shoot
$10 million,
film.
that is pretty cheap.
That's thin. I mean, and you've got like, debut, and it was cool because it's like there's a lot of like deaf interpreters that were on like whatever that's called, like able to just come on set to help, just kind of translate and to be part of production and stuff. And so like I think that like the IRL impact of this movie is amazing, and I love that, and I love that it got made. And I'm just I just think it's like kind of soft in a way I didn't really resonate with.
It's a good an emotional story, but it's not like there are previous movies where we've been like, that doesn't click with us, but I feel like somebody would have watched this movie and it would have changed their life. This is a great film, but I don't think it would have changed anyone's life. Like, we've seen, like, it's inspirational.
Ooh, I don't know if you could say that.
I think in the deaf community, though, it's a huge impact.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I was like, I think anyone who felt...
I'm not like a 14-year-old girl needs to see this.
No. I think... Sorry, I'm going to... Diversity-wise, right? Like, I think anyone with maybe a childhood experience where they felt parentified, and even like someone, right, whose parents don't, not just like the deaf community, but his parents don't speak English, right, who's translated for their parents or things like that, that this probably resonates a lot, or who has a family dynamic where they feel like they can't leave their family, or they can't make choices different, right? Like, that could be very life-changing, seeing that and saying that you can do that.
Well, what I'm saying is you don't need to be that person to enjoy it, because that is a very specific...
But you said that about it changing people's lives, and I disagree with you.
I'm saying,
I do think this movie can change people's lives.
Yeah, a very narrow, like, you were trying to say it has like a broad appeal and it's very safe, but the people who it's going to really deeply affect and to be emotionally resonant with it is just people that can have... more empathetic and like open to the story, not someone who's like, wow, I really resonate with this because this is my exact life, you know what I mean? Because it's like Jordan saying he didn't really click with it as much, and I'm saying it's not because he's not a fucking deaf, the only hearing person in a deaf family, and I don't think you need to be that person that's like ultra specific.
Well, right, but
to
you can
enjoy
also,
it.
Well, yeah, I mean, so the thing that I loved most, and probably the scene, right, is when she starts signing at the end, right, like giving that to her family as they showed up for her and she showed up for them, and how proud her family is. It's that feeling, and of course you know this about me, but being proud of anyone makes me cry. Like,
it's a
that's
satisfactory
where I
climax
feel
for
very
sure, I think.
emotionally involved, like sometimes, and like I said, I will cry or feel more emotionally involved when I am proud of someone or like happy to see their success more than I am about like some type of harm to them or trauma for them or struggle for them. Like, I am much more relating to see someone overcome or see someone succeed. Like, that's just who...
I think that's everyone when it comes to film, though, because going back to go listen to our Dead Poets Society episode, it's like no one is like, we don't really remember and resonate and be like, wow, I was so impacted when he killed himself. I'm so impacted that he inspired those students, and they all, like, everyone remembers the ending where they all stood up, because it's like people want triumph, it's like people want to see these things like triumph and stuff like that, and that's what this is, you know what I mean? It wouldn't have been like when she finally is like, no, I'm not gonna go to college, I'll go to college eventually, and you're like supposed to feel sad about it, like, but we know, being the type of movie this is, that's formulaic, that's never going to happen. Of course she's going to go. Of course she's going to go do that. So I think that's what he means when he's like, that the stakes don't feel real. Like, the stakes to the family feel real, but for her, it's like, yeah, no, we know exactly where you're going with this. You're not going to quit. And I don't want you to quit, because if you would have quit, it would have been a different movie, and it wouldn't have been as satisfactory. I wouldn't have got that proud triumph, which is what I'm here for, right?
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think obviously you knew going into this movie that it was going to have a happy ending, right? So it's predictable in that
Yeah.
way, and I enjoy it for that reason. I wouldn't have enjoyed it if it didn't. Like, it wouldn't have made sense to me in the story or the movie.
Well, no, I think it does stay on track. Where that was like our only critique about Dead Poet Society is that like it kind of the suicide seemed kind of out of left field a little bit, a little rushed, but but still works overall for the movie. Like, and movies are how you remember it. Like, I will remember this movie fondly for the conversations with the family. Like when she like the
contextual conversation.
Like, well, no, right, and that's what sign language is.
This movie
is so emotional.
This
could be a silent film. I recommend you guys. I'm gonna watch it with subtitles, and I recommend you guys watch it without subtitles.
Oh, I can see it,
and you can like it. It was interesting because I like the whole time I'm watching it, I kept being like, oh, there's got to be subtitles, but then I would like watch a scene where they're having a conversation, and it's like I understood how awkward it was, and I got the family dynamic through watching them, sign and body language and facial expressions and acting and like it. So this movie does a really good job at creating its atmosphere.
It's like
so
ASL.
I have no critique on that.
Forces like the like a more dynamic performance, so that's why the performance is really rocked because everything's so physical. So it's like you can't rely on like subtlety and the context clues of like dialogue. You are everything. It makes sense that you could still pick up on most of it because it's like when someone's pissed, they're being pissed. Like you have to when you're speaking that language. You can't be like, I fucking hate you and smiling. It's like confusing to communicate that way in this way. So it's like it makes sense. You can watch it without
body
it.
Body language is speaking in ASL too. Like that's 100%. So
you should. I'll watch a scene with just to kind of pay attention to it a little bit more.
I think that's interesting, and I think that's cool seeing from that dynamic. I also think and hope, obviously, that this leads into more like deaf actors getting into other movies that aren't just about, you know what I mean?
Well, right. That
deaf
corrects
movies,
that's what,
yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's the whole thing. That's what we're experiencing right now when it comes to like a whole like the black culture getting films that aren't just about black oppression. Like,
right.
You're getting, that clearly that will resonate through all the films they make and everyone who is involved. But like, it's still kind of interesting to see that shift. I'm very excited for the horizon of film. I mean, I love it. It's like
sort of a non sequitur, but have you watched American Fiction yet?
Oh no, but it's on. You posted it.
You absolutely should watch it. It's about that. I think you'd enjoy it.
Well, because it's like Bamboozled. Did you ever see that? Anyways,
anyway.
That's off topic.
But that all makes sense, and it's like I agree. It's hard because you didn't watch it with subtitles, but it's just like I know I didn't even think about that this movie had subtitles until I saw my brother's comment on Reddit. That he was like, oh, subtitles, but I ended up enjoying it. And I'm like, that's the hurdle. It's like, that's the hurdle to get over is most people in the general audience, nothing's going to be that mainstream that is like so many subtitles. So it's nice that this won Best Picture because it's like, it's not technically like foreign language, but it's just like, it almost is. You know what I mean?
This movie is crazy. This is a historical film. That's amazing, dude. It has all deaf cast, and then B, it was the first like film that was theatrically released with subtitles. That wasn't a foreign film. Like everyone, there's subtitles throughout, and it was like closed captions so that people who are deaf or hard of hearing could watch it. And I'm like, personally, I think that's what theaters need to start doing for everybody. I mean that like ableism aside, I would love to go see a movie with subtitles. I love subtitles. I watch everything with subtitles. Everything at home. If I can't watch a show without subtitles, it feels awkward to me. I can't watch it anymore.
We do watch a lot of subtitles too, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's studies like 75% of our generation watches shit with subtitles.
Yeah, and right now we live in like the greatest time to utilize those closed captions and like
there's
YouTube
so many
videos
features.
I watch have great closed captions.
Yeah, they do. It's crazy how some of them are really good. So, but no, that's the biggest hurdle. So it's cool to see. Like I want to see like Troy Kotsur, or I'm probably butchering his name again. I'm just doing it off of my memory, but like I want to see him because he absolutely crushed it in this movie. Like I want to see him and just like see what he can do. You know what I mean? See his range. Like, I don't know, like, I want to see him be like a Bond villain or something. And like something like this, just like fucking crazy, and like just see what he does, because I feel like he's got the chops.
Apparently, in the Mandalorian, he created the language like for it, and so that's pretty cool. That's fun. Yeah, so
that is fun.
Well, you know what, Jordan? I think something that you're gonna remember from this movie now is this conversation, and me and yours debate and difference about this movie, right? When you think back to CODA,
this is a healthy.
What you remember now.
We're having a healthy. I don't want to like. That's the whole thing. Is like that was like. It is like it's not even like a passive like, oh, that was your experience, but like it truly like, yeah, what you take away from this is like it's beautiful. I love that you enjoy something that like you feel good, and that's the thing where I'm like, I like to feel good too, but it's like if Marley and me, I know the dog's gonna die, so I'm careful. I want to, I want to be devastated.
Yeah, no, but I think I think it's good at the end of the day that we have differences, right? Like. Different people, different experience, how you experience art. Me and Levi get in fights about this all the time, about how me and him experience art differently, and like if he's really passionate about something he likes and I'm like, you know what I mean? We get in.
But I don't want to live in a box either. I don't want every movie to be Antichrist. That's why I can go and like it's kind of about your expectations a little bit, but it's like I can watch a movie and be like, this, I know what this kind of movie is, and I'm expecting it to be that kind of movie, and it succeeds in that, that's fine. Or it can subvert my expectations, whatever. But like, I don't go see, like, I don't know. It's just like, I know what this is, and it does it well. So it's like, as long as I'm wanting that kind of movie, there are times, like, for example, going back to another recent movie we watched, you should have watched, is Portrait of a Lady on Fire. We both agreed that was like a really excellent movie, but it didn't really click with us as much as it could have, and as much as we wanted it to, because we really loved like the time period and like the pace and everything. But we weren't clicking with like the emotional resonance and the weight of it. But it's like, knowing now what it is, I honestly think I would enjoy that movie better second viewing, kind of like knowing what it is and being able to appreciate it a little bit more. But a movie like CODA, you know what it is the first time you see it. And so, and I think that's fine as long as you have those expectations and can enjoy it. It's like, I can enjoy any kind of film. Like, I even like watching some dumb rom-coms with you, because I know I'm going to watch a dumb rom-com.
So you didn't need to add the word dumb in front of it.
I mean, most of them are pretty dumb, but
some of them are, you got to admit, there's some rom-coms that are just
a good time.
Well, there's a lot of
I'm not like, I wish this rom-com was fucking There Will Be Blood. Like, I'm not, I don't
You
feel,
do, though.
No, I don't, because I feel like
your favorite freaking romantic movie is Punk Drunk Love.
Yeah,
so
well, it's because it's amazing.
Like, we can pick sad boy movies.
It's the same guy that directed There Will Be Blood, by the way.
I know, right,
So,
exactly.
See? Just what I'm saying.
Well, no, because that's what I'm saying. That is my subjective artistic taste. Like, I enjoy those movies more, but it doesn't mean I can't enjoy everything. I'm a lover of film. I can enjoy pretty much all film. I'm a lover of music, but not as much as film. I don't enjoy all music. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to sit and listen to Taylor Swift or whatever. You know what I mean? But for movies, it's like, I can always find something I like about every movie. And it's like, I know what this movie is, and I think it's pretty great. Like, it's not going to I'm not going to put it in the top 10 movies of all time, and I'm not going to be like, it changed my life. You know what I mean? But that's okay. Not every movie needs to do that. And I think this movie was exceptionally well written. Even if it wasn't trying to fucking trick me and be unpredictable, like, I don't need that. Like, I like movies that do that probably more, but I don't need to love every movie and be like, whoa, that like changed my whole expectations, and she did get her leg chopped off at the end. Holy shit! Like, what a fucking cool twist! And then they all died on the boat. Like I don't want that.
I know, and I want more of this type of movie.
Oh, there's plenty of this kind of movie.
So yeah, movies made for all of us, right? And
right. So you only did half the Money Minute. How much did it make? Because you said it was made for $10 million. It was bought for $25 million.
That's it. That's all it made. 25.
No.
So like, no, dude. I'm dead ass
Apple,
serious.
right?
That's how it works. Apple TV bought it. Apple TV is not going to give it a physical release. It's just streaming on Apple. Nowhere else. You cannot get this unless you download it illegally. You can't get this anywhere else except Apple subscription. Look it up, bud. But
no, I believe that. But I'm like, This movie has
insane,
made
right?
more than $25 million for Apple.
Yeah, but how would they?
Sure. But Apple
It's
doesn't
hard to
release
quantify.
that, dude.
Yeah, we've talked about how it's so hard to quantify these days.
They don't make it public.
Yeah.
They're very. That's the whole fucking thing right now that we're like stuck in this whole. We should do a bonus episode on that because I'm like
we
I've been
keep
watching
talking
like
about it.
It's like I don't know, streaming sucks because it's one of those things where Netflix came and Netflix is like, I'm gonna save film, and then now Netflix is like, no, we're corrupt again. We're cable. We're gonna make this shady as fuck and make the same exact dribble that you're gonna see for the next 20 years.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, because we should do like a bonus episode because we have talked about many times about like how odd it is now with like in the streaming age. Like we're in a whole new age of like the way films are released, why they're released ever since, Well,
yeah, dude. And this, when I was saying this is historic,
like,
it's historic because it's not going to get a physical release. It was the first streaming movie to win an award, an Academy Award for Best Picture.
That's cool.
It was bought, and then something else that was wild. Just an aside, where we're tiptoeing to progression, if you will. But this is the third female director to win Best Picture in like 100 years. So we're getting there. And the last two were within the last 5 years. So we're the first two. Yeah. So
that's true.
We're getting there. we're moving on up.
Right.
But
anyway, because we're running a little long in the tooth, let's.
Let's
I got a couple Reddits. I feel bad because even though it's the total wrong day of the week, I haven't gone back and actually posted on Reddit and physically replied to these comments. So I will try to, or if you guys are listening to this, then here you go. But Turbo13 says, this is the exact opposite movie I like. Musicals and subtitles are last on my list of things I want to see in a movie. I really enjoyed it. The emotion portrayed in the acting was crazy good. The pacing was pretty decent, and I loved the humor. I think the way they balanced how the movie was structured was super relatable as far as work, love, family, and doing what you love. 4.1 out of 5. Super good movie. Thumbs up.
That was Gallon? Yeah. Good job, Gallon. That is the most. Yeah. Good for you.
No, and dude, this is why
that was almost comprehensible.
It was comprehensible. I was going to say that was like for someone who keeps his words pretty like, who only speaks when it's important. That was a lot of good words.
He just speaks in grunts and just
He's a stoic man, but he like kind of articulated my whole thing about the film podcast is that it's just, this is a great place to come. This was a movie I would have never watched, and because of the podcast I did, and I'm better for it. I'm happy that I did. So we
have never been like, I wish I didn't watch that movie.
That's how I feel about The Fly. I wish I had never seen
what?
The Fly.
If every movie was The Fly, coming from?
The Fly?
I was just going to say, there's some movies that I feel like I wish I've never seen it. And when I think you know how I feel about The Fly, I straight up walked out of that movie. It is the most, when I think of The Fly, I literally...
That's weird. Are you sure you're not thinking about Bug?
Bile comes up in my throat when I think
Bug?
Oh, I am thinking about Bug.
Okay. I was going to say, I know you hate Bug, and I get that, but The Fly?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Bug, not The Fly.
The Fly
is the body whore. Yeah. Okay, no. The Fly is good. Bug is bad.
I do disagree. Bug is still, to me, I still have the same. I think
Bug.
Fly is better than Bug, but Bug is awesome.
We really like Bug.
Hardcore, no.
But I get, Bug, I'm not as offended that you don't like Bug. Like, I get that you don't like Bug. But if you don't like The Fly, you are an asshole.
You see where my confusion came from.
Yeah, I get. That's why I had to be like, hold on. I was going to say, we watched The Fly a couple years ago, and I feel like you hate it.
Yeah, sorry to distract you there. Anyway, was there another
chair over?
Was there another comment?
Yeah, I got one more. So, Clones of People 2 says, first watch. It was on my radar when it came out, but I never got around to it. It didn't help that the film that its Oscar win was overshadowed by a slap. Also not a fan of musicals, although I'm reluctant to describe this as one. For me, a musical is Grease or West Side Story. This is a drama. Anyway, I really like this. It's a beautiful human story. It's not often I cry at film, but this did it to me. It was the scene where the dad fills her throat as she sings. Yep, see? Exactly.
That's what got Victoria, too.
Yeah, that's good. The story is so universal, a typical parent-child relationship about growing up and the expectations of the relationship, but also what it means to not understand or see the other person's point of view. It's done so well in this, and it makes the characters so relatable. I relate both to the parents and to Ruby. My favorite scene was in the performances when the audience was taken into the dad's point of view as he watched the crowd react. It could have been so easy to use the lack of sound as a plot device, but for the director to withhold that until then made for such an impact. Overall, solid film, 8 out of 10. Reminded me a lot of Billy Elliot, which I've never seen.
Oh.
I want to.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's on my list. Yeah, thanks for the comment. Both of you guys said musical, and I've heard this before on Reddit, not our subreddit, but I like about this movie, that it's like, this movie is not a musical, but it is musical. You know, it's about music, but like a musical is like diegetic, like non-real life. I'm going to break out in song, and it's a way to express. Like, I don't like the musicals either, because it's like, I keep them on the stage. You know, at a film, you don't need a big music scene to express an emotion in the moment. But it's like, this movie, you know, you wouldn't call The Pianist a musical because he fucking plays piano or something, you know what I mean?
Or like The Soloist or something,
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly. It's like those, like, they're movies about
Yeah.
music, which this movie is largely about music. But it's like, you know, if she would have broken out in song to break the fourth wall and describe her daily life with snaps and shit, then it would be a musical. That's not what this is. So.
Well, this was my last podcast with you guys this month. Thanks for watching those movies.
Well, next week,
It's
we're
nice
going to
having you
watch
around,
Master and Commander, which you're going to come on for that one, right?
No.
It's about a boat, Mary.
Just a boat.
I actually don't really know.
I bet I could make a movie that you guys would love. Like, I would just
love to
make
see
it
you
so
try.
fucking weird, right? It would be about just a boat, and it would only take place on a boat, and it would just be one shot, and it would circle the boat many times, and just tiny little things that change so often, just to make you think
great.
that there's some weird feeling in there that you're
That's
supposed
like,
to
like
have.
Birdman. You kind of like Birdman's basically one shot.
I would do all of those things, and you guys would eat it up.
Well, it goes to show you, because, I mean, Birdman is a very weird movie, but it won Best Picture, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're thinking sometimes.
So and it really isn't the Oscars. That was like the thing. I was like, am I just like being biased about that? But then I was like, nah, I mean, there's great movies that have won the Oscars.
Well, this
like,
movie,
I think,
kind of came and went in the lexicon. Like, I think it's sort of underrated, because even though it won the Oscar and it was like the talk because it kind of came out of nowhere, and it was like, you know, opened a lot of doors for the deaf community and shit. But it's like, you don't really hear about it. It's definitely one of the more recent forgotten, like Green Book or something. Like, nobody fucking remembers Green Book that won Best Oscar some years back, right?
Okay. So I want to say because obviously we're getting low on time. So I'm going to keep out Arrival because I know that's what your choice would be. But out of the other three that I had you watch, so Pride and Prejudice, Dead Poets Society, or CODA, which one was your favorite?
Shit. I like Pride and Prejudice is kind of close, honestly. Just the memory I have of it. It's like Keira Knightley, you know, she's amazing. I think it's like what's a bummer with Dead Poets for me personally is like the only like character I really liked was Robin Williams' character, and he's barely in the movie. And so it really is kind of one of those things where I'm like, I don't know, the friendship between the friends, like I'm kind of just like, I don't remember that as fondly. I have good memories of like all the scenes with Robin Williams in it, but then the scenes with the kids and they're good. So anyways, I don't know. That's tough. Probably Dead Poets though. It's like on a rewatch, I'd probably go Dead Poets.
Okay. I think Coda's the best, other than Arrival, right? Obviously. I think Coda's the best, but I've seen it before, and honestly, it was like slightly less than the first time I watched it. But I still found it really enjoyable. But the first time I watched it, I was really pleasantly surprised. I thought Dead Poets Society was good, but a little disappointing, slightly below, because I've heard so much about it over the years, right? And so I was like, it was good, but it wasn't all that. And then, so I think maybe Pride and Prejudice, in a way, just because it's like, I don't think Pride and Prejudice was, like, I think Coda's a better structured and a better written movie, but Pride and Prejudice, like, I expected it to be kind of shit, but it wasn't, even though I didn't care about the romantic angle as much. It was such a well-made movie, and I do have a soft spot for period pieces, and so it's just like this period piece that's exceptionally well-made, and it's like, I do think about it, like we talked about this before, watching it was sort of boring, but like in my memory, the big scenes stick out. Like it feels like the big emotional impact scenes, like the really cool well shot scenes. Like, I think that was the one I was most left the biggest impression at the end of it. Because CODA, I think, is better, but I've seen it. But I think Pride and Prejudice left the biggest impression of the month.
Awesome. Well, I'm hearing that you'll watch that again with me in the future, so that's great.
Yeah, possibly. But we will watch. Let's watch the fucking miniseries.
Yeah, we'll watch the miniseries.
I want to watch the miniseries.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Well,
we'll
Mary,
watch it and let you know if it's worth it.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah. I bet it was good for you guys to have a little bit of diversity.
You don't know what we watch. We watch we watch movies we don't want to watch.
I'm just like having someone else in your podcast too.
That is true.
Just to mix it up and give you a different perspective.
You thought this episode was unhinged? You should listen to some of our other episodes where it's just me and Jordan ADHDing at each other and forgetting what we're talking about.
I bet. I feel like we really tightened it up there towards, you know what I mean? We got out of our chuckles there.
Well, it's because Mary got serious when she found out you didn't like it and you didn't watch it with subtitles. She's like, what? Say it again, bitch.
Yeah. I am gonna. That is my. I will watch it with subtitles though, because I want to. I don't feel like it's necessary, but I definitely want to just to get the experience.
I don't want to sidetrack us, but wasn't there another movie recently that you didn't watch with subtitles and we both were like, oh, we should have done that. Anyway, we'll talk about it off air. I feel it was like something in October. It was like Ganja and Hess or something. It wasn't that, but it was something like that where we're like, oh, we're dumb.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all right.
Well, thanks
Mary's
for listening,
signing off.
Babe. Thank you for coming. I think this was fun this month. Let's do this again with like Pablo or someone. Let's get more people on here. I'm sure people are sick of hearing just you and me. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not, but yeah, you know.
I mean, every once in a while, I'll get another mic for real, and we'll have guests every once in a while.
Yeah, that'd be delightful.
It's been a long time since we've had a guest, so.
Well.
Yeah, Mary, it was lovely having you.
Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Tell everyone to go visit all our shit. Go to the Reddit.
No, I was just about to say, where should they go?
So go to the Patreon to get all the exclusive content.
The YouTubes.
Go to YouTube to check out my hair part that's not even that my husband liked to comment on.
I was going to cut that bit. It's not even that uneven. I just noticed it.
Go to the Reddit to join part of the conversation and feel like you're part of a community that gets to discuss movies and write your impressions and vote on the movies. Be part of it. And then find this podcast on anywhere it's streamed, which is...
Everywhere. I mean, anywhere that you get podcasts.
Wherever you podcast.
Really? Spotify, Podbean, whatever Apple device. I don't know what they use. But.
There you go. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you. Next week we're watching Master and Commander: Far End of the World. I've never seen it because this next month we're gonna do like ocean themed movies. I want to trigger Jordan's thalassophobia.
I know, I've got it, dude.
I know. I'm starting us above the water, but I'm gonna take us below the water.
Yeah, slowly. I know, we almost got Das Boot, so I was like, oh, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll talk about this in a minute. I wish I would have voted for Das Boot, but that's all right. All right. Goodbye.
Bye. Good night. All right, Mary.